199 technical fouls, 26 flagrant fouls, 6 career suspensions. Draymond's Green record looks less like a stat sheet and more like a rap sheet. He's racked up over $4.2 million in NBA fines, more than most players even make in a season. He's been ejected, suspended, and labeled the dirtiest player in the league. Even his own teammates haven't been safe. And yet,
he's been known for flagrant fouls in his career. I've watched him on TV my whole life, it feels like.
How much damage has he done? He's done a lot.
Never seen that before on a basketball court in an NBA game. I hope Draymond gets the help he needs.
Guys don't go around punching guys. That relationship is not repairable.
The altercation against the Clippers when y'all were playing, did that play a role in you leaving Golden State?
He's also a 4-time NBA champion, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and the emotional engine behind one of the greatest dynasties the game has ever seen. He's not fast, he's not flashy, and he'll never lead the league in points. But what he lacks in athleticism, he makes up for in attitude. This is not a story about finesse. This is about fire. This is how Draymond Green punched his way into greatness. Now, before Draymond Green was a villain, before, he was choking opponents and swinging at teammates, he was just a loud, angry kid from Saginaw, Michigan, a place where being loud and angry was how you survived. Saginaw wasn't a basketball factory. It was a war zone with rims. Crime was high, opportunities were low, and if you weren't tough, you didn't last. And this wasn't a town that raised finesse players. It raised fighters. Draymond's edge wasn't learned, it was bred into him. Raised by a single mother, Mary Babers Green, Draymond didn't grow up hearing bedtime stories. He grew up hearing truth. Brutal, unapologetic, raw truth. Whether he wanted to hear it or not. Mary didn't just support him, she challenged him. She'd scream at him from the stands, she'd call him out in front of everyone. If he played soft, she told him he was embarrassing the family. If he sulked or made excuses, she shut it down. And this wasn't abuse, that was preparation. Because the world wasn't going to hand him everything, and Mary made damn sure he knew it. By the time he was a teenager, Draymond was already that guy, the emotional leader of every team that he touched. He wasn't afraid to yell at teammates, he wasn't afraid to challenge coaches. That was Draymond. Now when he got to Michigan State, it was much more of the same. Undersized, unflashy, underrated. But head coach Tom Izzo saw something different. He saw a leader. He saw a kid who would dive for loose balls, sacrifice his body, and scream at his teammates to get it together. Izzo didn't just allow Draymond's fire. He harnessed it. And it worked. Draymond became the heart of a gritty Michigan State squad that made multiple deep tournament runs. He was a 2-time team MVP. He graduated with honors, and he left his jersey hanging in the rafters. But still, when draft night came, 34 names were called before his. Draymond Green was a second-round pick, and scouts didn't care about leadership. They cared about wingspan, vertical leap, and scoring potential.
With the 35th pick in the 2012 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Draymond Green.
They said he was too heavy, that he was too slow, too emotional, too loud, just too much. When the Golden State Warriors picked him 35th overall back in 2012, they weren't expecting a franchise piece. They were gambling on a role player, and Draymond took that personally. He came into the league pissed off. Not humble, not grateful, not patient. Pissed off. From day one, he played like he had something to prove, like he'd been disrespected at every level, and now the whole league was going to pay for it. And his rookie year, he barely played. But when he did, he made sure that people noticed. Hard fouls, scrappy defense, trash talk, clapping at faces. He was making noise on the court before he ever made stats. His energy, his IQ, his willingness to do the dirty work that nobody else wanted to do. Draymond wasn't chasing highlights, he was chasing respect. He didn't need to be liked, he just needed you to feel him. And whether it was in Saginaw, at Michigan State, or riding the bench in Golden State, you always felt Draymond Green. He was loud, he was messy, he was raw. But under all that chaos, there was a blueprint. Because Draymond wasn't just trying to make it into the NBA. He was trying to punch his way to the top and leave everyone who doubted him on the floor behind him. If it was Saginaw that gave Draymond his fight, it was his mother that gave him his fire. Mary Babers Green was not your typical supportive, quiet cheer from the stands mom. She was louder than her son, tougher than her son, and absolutely unafraid to check him in public. Mary raised Draymond in a single-parent home with limited means. Money was tight, but discipline was not. She believed in honesty. The kind of honesty that hurt, but made you stronger. She once said, "I didn't sugarcoat anything with him. Life isn't going to sugarcoat it, so why would I?" When little Draymond played soft, Mary didn't pat him on the back. She lit him up. I mean, just imagine being 12 years old, bricking shots in front of a packed gym, and hearing your mom scream across the court, "Stop playing like a baby!" That was Draymond's childhood, and instead of breaking him, it forged him. That relationship between mother and son created something rare. Tough love as fuel. Mary wasn't trying to embarrass him. She was preparing him for a world that would eat him alive if he didn't learn how to fight back. If you can't handle me, how are you going to handle the NBA? And it worked. By the time Draymond hit high school, he was already different. He didn't just play basketball. He played with emotion. He'd clap in opponents' faces, argue calls, scream at teammates. I mean, most kids would get benched for that, but Draymond thrived on it. At Saginaw High School, under coach Lou Dawkins, Green became the emotional heartbeat of a team that dominated Michigan basketball. He won back-to-back state championships, and he wasn't the most athletic player on the floor. If anything, far from it. But he was the loudest, the smartest, and the most unshakable. That is what caught the eye of Tom Izzo at Michigan State. Izzo didn't see a perfect prospect. He saw a 6'6" forward who was too short for center, too slow for small forward, and too average looking for the NBA. But he also saw something you couldn't measure: heart. And in East Lansing, Draymond's toughness was put to the test again. As a freshman, he barely saw minutes. I mean, he was buried on the bench, frustrated, just itching to prove himself. But Mary's lessons echoed. No excuses. So, Draymond didn't sulk. He didn't transfer. He fought. Every practice, he went at the starters like it was the finals. Every loose ball, he was on the floor first. Every mistake, he was in his teammates' faces demanding better. And slowly, Izzo realized this wasn't just a role player. This was a leader in disguise. By his junior and senior years, Draymond Green was the undisputed captain of Michigan State. He wasn't just filling the stat sheet. Though he did, becoming one of the most versatile forwards in college basketball, he was setting the stone. He led Michigan State to 2 Final Fours. He was named Big Ten Player of the Year, and he joined Magic Johnson as the only Spartan to record multiple triple-doubles in the NCAA tournament. And still, after all that, NBA scouts didn't believe. So when the 2012 NBA draft came, Draymond sat there waiting. And waiting. And waiting. 34 names went off the board before his. And when the Warriors finally called him at pick number 35, he wasn't celebrating. He was seething. Because for Draymond, disrespect was nothing new. He'd been doubted since Saginaw, since Michigan State, since forever. And if they thought a second-round label was going to define him, they had no idea what kind of fighter they just unleashed. This wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a war. When the Golden State Warriors drafted Draymond Green with the 35th pick in 2012, nobody thought they were adding the future heartbeat of a dynasty. He wasn't a lottery pick, he wasn't a superstar prospect. He was a 6'6" tweener who looked more like a role player than a franchise cornerstone. But the Warriors didn't need another flashy scorer. They already had Stephen Curry, the baby-faced assassin redefining the three-point shot. They already had Klay Thompson, one of the purest shooters in NBA history. What they lacked was fire. They lacked a voice, an enforcer, someone who would drag the team through wars when the shots weren't falling. And Draymond Green was born for that role. From the very beginning, Draymond played like he had something to prove. At practices, he was the loudest one in the gym, barking orders, challenging veterans, and refusing to back down. He wasn't just a rookie trying to earn minutes, he was a rookie trying to take command. Now, most guys would have been told to sit down, but for Golden State, his energy was contagious. By his second season, he was already carving out a role as the team's defensive anchor. And in 2015, when head coach Steve Kerr fully unleashed him as a starting power forward, everything clicked. That season, the Warriors didn't just win, they dominated. Draymond was the engine behind their league-best defense. He could guard centers, wings, guards, anyone. He'd bark at teammates if they missed a rotation. He'd scream at refs until he got a tech, then turn around and hit a clutch three. By the time the Warriors lifted the 2015 championship trophy, Draymond wasn't just part of the team. He was the team's soul. Steph was the face, Klay was the silent assassin, but Draymond was the heart that beat the loudest. That heart reached its peak in 2016. The Warriors won a record-breaking 73 games, the best regular season in NBA history. Draymond averaged 14 points, 9.5 rebounds, 7.4 assists, and nearly 2 steals per game. He became the first player in NBA history to record a triple-double without scoring double digits. 12 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals. He even finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. And yet, his value couldn't be captured by stats. It was in the intangibles, the way he pushed Curry to be more confident, the way he held teammates accountable, and the way he did all the dirty work so that others could shine. Ask Kerr, ask Steph, ask anyone from those Warriors teams, and they'll tell you, without Draymond, the dynasty doesn't exist. But here's the paradox. The same fire that fueled him also made him dangerous. Every technical, every flagrant, every time he lost control, it was a ticking time bomb. And in 2016, that bomb went off. During the NBA Finals against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, Draymond's temper boiled over. He swung at LeBron, a groin shot that the league simply couldn't ignore. The NBA suspended him for Game 5 of the Finals, and the Warriors were already up 3-1 at that point, just one win away from a second straight championship. But without Draymond, everything shifted. Cleveland won Game 5, then Game 6, and then Game 7. The Warriors' historic 73-win season collapsed, and the defining image wasn't Steph's threes or Klay's defense or even LeBron's block. It was Draymond Green suspended, sitting at home watching his team lose the title. That was the first real taste of Draymond's double-edged sword. He was the engine of the dynasty, but also the one thing that could derail it. Now, for most players, that might have been the end, but Draymond, he didn't fold. He came back the next season even hungrier, and when Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, it was Draymond who made the sacrifice. He gave up shots, he gave up stats. He didn't care about that glory though. All he wanted was to win. And they did. With Durant, Curry, Klay, and Draymond forming maybe the greatest starting lineup in NBA history, the Warriors ripped through the league, winning titles in 2017 and 2018. Durant was the MVP, Steph was the revolution, but once again, Draymond was the glue, the man who held it all together. The Warriors dynasty was a machine, but Draymond Green was its engine. Draymond Green is proof of a cruel truth. The same fire that makes you great can also burn everything down. For years, his rage was an asset. He scared opponents, rallied teammates, and gave Golden State its edge. But slowly that fire started spilling over. And when it did, the cost was measured not in fines or suspensions, but in lost championships, broken relationships, and headlines that branded him the dirtiest player in the league. The 2016 final suspension was the beginning. Golden State had a 3-1 lead on LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, just one win away from finishing the greatest season in NBA history. Then came the incident. Draymond swiped at LeBron's groin during Game 4, and the league reviewed the play and suspended him for Game 5. Without their enforcer, the Warriors crumbled. LeBron and Kyrie went nuclear, the Cavs stole Game 5, and very suddenly the series flipped. The Warriors then lost in 7 games. And to this day, many argue that Draymond's suspension cost Golden State a championship. That moment put a spotlight on him. Every foul, every shove, every scream at the refs was amplified. And Draymond, being Draymond, didn't change. He kicked Steven Adams below the belt. He tackled opponents mid-game. He picked up technicals like candy. By the numbers, it's staggering. 199 career technical fouls, 26 flagrant fouls, 6 suspensions, and over $4.2 million in fines. But the numbers, they only tell part of the story. The real story is the moments, the times when Draymond's temper didn't just hurt his wallet, but his team. Fast forward to 2018. The Warriors were in the middle of their dynasty run with Kevin Durant, but in a heated game against the Clippers, Draymond snapped. He and Durant argued on the bench after Draymond refused to pass him the ball. The shouting match apparently spilled over into the locker room, with Draymond reportedly calling KD a word that, well, you can't say on TV or hear on YouTube. The Warriors suspended Draymond for 1 game, and for the first time, the world saw cracks inside the dynasty. Durant would later leave Golden State, and while it wasn't the only reason, many point to that incident as a turning point. Then came the Jordan Poole punch. In October 2022, during a Warriors practice, reports surfaced that Draymond and Poole had a heated exchange. Now at first, people assumed it was just trash talk. But then the video leaked. The world saw Draymond walk up to Poole, shove him, and then deliver a full-on punch that dropped his own teammate. The footage went viral, and social media exploded. Suddenly, the four-time champion wasn't being celebrated. He was being condemned. Dirtiest player in the league. Locker room cancer. Draymond's gone too far. Even Nurkic, an opponent, said flatly, "That brother needs help." The Warriors suspended him internally, but the damage was already done. Trust was broken, and Poole was eventually traded. Oh, and Draymond's reputation as the NBA's loose cannon was cemented forever. But it didn't stop there. In November of 2023, Draymond put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold during an in-game scuffle. The NBA handed him a 5-game suspension, the longest of his career, and Gobert later joked that Draymond doesn't like to play when Steph is out, but there was nothing funny about it. The suspension cost Golden State games in a crucial stretch. And here's the harsh truth. As Draymond aged, his margin for error shrank. When you're young and dominant, people tolerate the fire. But when your skills start slipping, every suspension feels heavier. Every fine feels bigger, and every fight feels less like passion and more like self-destruction. This is the paradox of Draymond Green. Without that fire, he's not an NBA champion. He's not an all-star. He's not a Hall of Famer. But with it, he's always one moment away from sabotaging everything that he's built. It's the price of being Draymond Green. And it's why he remains one of the most polarizing players that the game has ever seen. Draymond Green is the ultimate paradox. He might punch a teammate, scream at his coach, and rack up technical fouls at a record pace. But if you ask Steph Curry or Steve Kerr if they'd trade him, the answer has always been the same. Not a chance. Because for all his chaos, Draymond is also the glue. Steph calls him the heartbeat of the Warriors, and Klay says he brings a fire that no one else can match. Even Kevin Durant, who had that infamous clash with Draymond, later admitted that Draymond's intensity was part of what made the Warriors unstoppable. Think about it. Every dynasty has its enforcer. The 90s Bulls had Dennis Rodman, the bad boy Pistons had Bill Laimbeer, and Golden State has Draymond Green. He might not fill a stat sheet with points, but his fingerprints are on every Warriors championship. Defense, rebounding, passing, leadership, and toughness. The dirty work that no one else wants to do, Draymond does it better than almost anyone. And it's not just his defense. Draymond is one of the smartest players in NBA history. He sees plays before they happen. He calls out opponent sets. He communicates constantly, directing teammates like a quarterback on defense. When the Warriors are locked in, you can hear Draymond's voice above everyone else's, barking orders, shouting switches, and making sure every rotation is perfect. Steve Kerr has said it countless times. Draymond is our best defender, but also our best communicator. He makes everything work. That's why the Warriors tolerate the chaos, because they know the alternative. Without Draymond, they're not the Warriors. Remember the 2015 Finals, Golden State's first title in 40 years? Steph and Klay hit the shots, but it was Draymond who filled every gap in between. In Game 6, he recorded a triple-double, the first by a player in a finals-clinching game since Magic Johnson. Fast forward to 2017 and 2018, when the Warriors added Kevin Durant. It's easy to say that KD made them unbeatable, but Draymond was the one who made the puzzle fit. He sacrificed shots, he handled the dirty matchups, he kept the intensity high. Without him, the Warriors aren't a dynasty. In the 2022 Finals against Boston, Draymond had rough games early on. He was booed relentlessly on the road, and fans mocked him. Critics said he was washed. But when it mattered, he showed up. In Game 6, the closeout game, Draymond put up 12 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't pretty by any means, but it was classic Draymond, doing everything, everywhere, all at once, and it sealed his 4th championship. This is why he's so polarizing. If Draymond's on your team, you love him. If he's on the other side, you hate him. There's simply no middle ground. Opponents call him dirty, teammates call him essential, but both are right. Even his critics in the media admit it. I mean, Charles Barkley, one of Draymond's loudest rivals, has called him out for years. But Barkley's also said, if I had a guy like Draymond on my team, I'd win more championships. And that is the paradox of Draymond Green. He's chaos and control, poison and cure. He's the fight that breaks teams, and the fight that makes them champions. And at the end of the day, the Warriors don't just tolerate Draymond, they need him. His numbers don't scream Hall of Fame, but his impact does. And when his career ends, he'll look back and realize something. Golden State's dynasty wasn't built on just shooting and skill. It was built on grit, on toughness, on a man who was willing to punch, claw, scream, and fight for greatness. Draymond Green's career has always been a war between chaos and greatness. On one side of the scale, 4 NBA championships, 4 All-Star appearances, 8 All-Defensive Team selections, and a Defensive Player of the Year award. On the other side, 6 suspensions, 199 technical fouls, 26 flagrants, nearly $4.2 million in fines, and enough fights to fill a highlight reel of infamy. That's the paradox of Draymond Green. For every banner he helped raise in Golden State, there's a headline about something he nearly destroyed. Ask any Warriors fan about the 2016 finals, and they'll shake their head. Golden State was up 3-1 on the Cavaliers, about to complete the greatest season in NBA history. Then Draymond's suspension for hitting LeBron James in the groin changed everything. Cleveland roared back, and the Warriors' dream season turned into a nightmare. Many still say, if Draymond doesn't get suspended, the Cavs never come back. Fast forward to 2022, the Warriors are back in the finals against Boston. Draymond's early struggles almost derailed them again. He was benched in crunch time of Game 4, a humiliating moment for a proud veteran. But when the dust settled, his fingerprints were still all over the Warriors' championship. Because that's Draymond, and you count on him. He finds a way to punch back. And then there's the infamous Jordan Poole punch, a moment that went viral, dividing fans and tearing at the Warriors' chemistry. Some say Draymond was finished. Others said Golden State could never recover. But once again, he survived. Because, well, love him or hate him, the Warriors know that they can't win without him. Is Draymond Green a Hall of Famer? Or just a reckless fighter who rode the coattails of Curry and Clay? Well, the numbers won't impress a casual fan. I mean, he averaged under 9 points a game. He's never been a top scorer. Golden State doesn't win 4 rings without him, and basketball people know it. Defense, communication, leadership, grit, the things that don't make highlight reels, but win championships. That is why when his career ends, he'll have a case as strong as anyone. Not because of the stats, but because of the dynasty he held together, and almost tore apart. And maybe that's what makes Draymond Green unforgettable. Not just the championships, not just the controversies, but the tension between the two. He's the teammate you love to hate, the enforcer who crosses lines, the genius who sometimes can't control himself, the fighter who couldn't stop from fighting, even when it hurt him. So, how will history remember him? As a dirty player, as the heart of a dynasty, as a cautionary tale about losing control, or as one of the most unique defenders and competitors the NBA has ever seen? The truth is, Draymond Green is all of those things. His violence ruined title runs. His fire created them. He's the reason the Warriors were unbeatable, and the reason they sometimes weren't. And maybe that's the point. Greatness isn't always clean. It isn't always pretty. Sometimes greatness is messy, unpredictable, and fueled by a rage that simply can't be turned off. Draymond Green punched his way into the history books, both literally and figuratively. And whether you love him or hate him, one thing is for sure: you'll never forget him.